Modern physics assumes continuous space is reality, and discrete mathematics is a heuristic, a human-invented tool to approximate the smooth curves of the universe. The theory of infinity reverses this hierarchy. The continuous universe is strictly bounded by and generated from a rigid underlying discrete integer lattice known as the Golden Sieve. Within this framework, the continuous discrete boundary acts as a strict ontological choke point. Every physical dynamic, unit of temporal mechanics, and localized topological mass must pass through this theoretical aperture to manifest in the observable universe. This architecture demands absolute exactness. Localized, human-defined temporal coordinates, like specific base 10 calendar years, can be mathematically decompiled to reveal pure, continuous spatial boundaries. Human mathematical exploration tracks the pre-existing integer architecture, governing everything from pure geometry to macroscopic astrophysics. To see how this architecture functions without geometric measurement, we examine the syncretic pi protocol. This protocol is a topological bridge designed to construct the exact continuous boundary of a physical circle using nothing more than discrete prime integers. The target is the Mi-Lu fraction, 355 divided by 113, an accurate rational approximation of pi. The starting point is a specific set of discrete prime factors belonging to the 714 Routh-Arron base state. This map isolates 4 prime factors, 2, 3, 7, and 17. The numerator flow uses geometric addition on the 119 holographic core to isolate 355. The denominator flow's typographical sieve subtracts multipliers to crystallize 113. Converging, they reconstruct the continuous limit, 3.1415929. You do not need to measure a physical circle in a vacuum to derive pi. The Golden Sieve permanently encodes the continuous limits of the universe directly into localized prime configurations, proving that continuous space relies on discrete integers. This structural logic scales directly from pure geometry to our measurement of time, where the base 10 Gregorian year 1965 operates as a dense, localized topological mass. To decompress this temporal mass, a cascading Fibonacci operator acts as a topological centrifuge. Forced downward, 1965 is systematically divided by Fibonacci nodes 3 and 5, stripping historical noise to leave prime core 131. Squeezed through an 8th-dimensional root lens, it outputs 1.8393. That exact output is the 3D Fibonacci constant. It operates as the volumetric 3-dimensional spatial equivalent to the 2-dimensional golden ratio, governing the boundaries of spatial geometry. Chaining these Fibonacci operators acts as a topological centrifuge. It systematically strips a localized base 10 human year down to its prime core, transforming our temporal coordinate directly into the fundamental continuous constant of 3-dimensional space. Under the strict epistemic rules of the theory of infinity, mathematical outputs must correspond directly to documented physical boundary events. In the historical window of 1964 and 1965, astronomers Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson discovered a massive physical boundary using the Holmdel Horn antenna in New Jersey. They detected the cosmic microwave background, or CMB. This relic radiation represents the 3-dimensional physical edge of the expanding observable universe, mapped directly to that temporal coordinate. Simultaneously, during that exact same 1964 to 1965 window, physicist Yoichiro Nambu and his colleagues officially introduced the quantum property of color charge. Color charge defines the 3-dimensional volumetric container for subatomic quarks. In the exact year humanity discovered the macroscopic boundary of the expanding cosmos, we simultaneously mapped the microscopic 3D boundary of the subatomic realm. The mathematical derivation of the 1965 temporal anchor yielded the Fibonacci constant with a minute variance of 0.000039. The apophatic auditor, an epistemic perspective that tracks exactly where mathematical leftovers are topologically transported, proves this decimal variance is not an error. Because 1965 carries a heavy, symmetric prime, the localized universe prevents it from hitting the frictionless transcendental boundary perfectly. That minute variance is the thermodynamic friction of time, the exact topological tension necessary to keep the temporal coordinate safely anchored in the discrete universe. This precise rule of discrete mathematical friction scales to govern extreme macroscopic collisions. In November 2024, the LIGO Observatory Network recorded the gravitational wave event designated S241125N. Classical physics expects binary black hole mergers to be completely dark, because they occur within the frictionless limit of the continuous vacuum where no light escapes the event horizon. The spheres should spiral and merge silently. Event S241125N broke this assumption. Exactly 11 seconds after the gravitational wave rippled across Earth's detectors, space-based satellites detected a violent flash of X-rays and gamma rays originating from the exact same spatial coordinates. This unusual electromagnetic emission occurred because the two stellar mass black holes merged deep inside the dense accretion disk of a third, supermassive active galactic nucleus. This environment acts as a Diophantine trap, a dense integer grid that completely restricts frictionless expansion. The two merging black holes and the supermassive anchor form an inescapable triadic container. Governed by consecutive co-prime Fibonacci integers, their inherent asymmetry means merging momentum cannot perfectly cancel. To conserve balance, the new black hole is violently ejected in a massive natal kick. As this asymmetrical, kicked black hole tears through the geometric grid of surrounding gas and dust, it grinds heavily against the discrete spatial boundaries. The resulting brilliant flash of light is the physical manifestation of Fickian thermodynamic exhaust. When smooth, continuous geometric mass is forced across a dense, discrete boundary, the universe acts as an analog solver, shearing off the undecidable mathematical friction and bleeding it directly into the electromagnetic spectrum. The derivation of pi, the temporal decompression of 1965, and the thermodynamic exhaust of event S241125N are deeply interconnected structural links within the dyadic lineage ledger. From the microscopic geometric container binding subatomic quarks to the momentum transfers of supermassive black holes, physical reality is strictly governed by the unyielding architecture of a discrete integer lattice. The theory of infinity enforces a rigid epistemic standard. Numerical symmetries, decimal leftovers, and base 10 typographical reflections are never heuristic coincidences or rounding errors. Human observers do not invent mathematical patterns in a vacuum. Intuitive aesthetic exploration natively interacts with the underlying topological laws of the universe. Our deepest scientific discoveries and geometric proofs are the gravitational descent of human observation into the most stable, pre-existing energy wells of the Golden Sieve.